It's time for NEC Women's Basketball on the Run. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ralph Ventre. I'm here in the NEC Front Row Studio, ready to go for the final regular season episode of On the Run. 3 games left on the conference schedule. Robert Morris has already locked up at least a share of the regular season title. We'll talk about the Colonials and a whole lot more next on today's show. Join me in examining where we stand. The aforementioned Robert Morris Colonials stand at the top. They've won 3 in a row. They'll finish no worse than in a tie for first place. Their magic number for sole possession of the NEC regular season crown is 1. One more Robert Morris win or a loss by second place Sacred Heart will give the Colonials sole possession of that top spot. Also, it's worth mentioning that Robert Morris is 3 for 3 under head coach Charlie Buscaglia. In the 3 seasons since he took over the program, they have finished in no worse than a tie for first place all 3 seasons. Moving down to Bryant, the Bulldogs have also won 3 in a row. They've jumped into a 6th place tie with the Mount at 7 and 8. Both Bryant and the Mount punched their tickets to the NEC tournament this past week. Bryant has qualified for the postseason every year since becoming eligible at the Division I level in 2013. And before we move on, let's take a quick look at Wagner. The Seahawks 1-1 last week, but they notched their 8th conference victory, doubling their entire NEC win total from last season. The Seahawks, they were pegged for a last place finish in the preseason poll, but they're going on to the NEC tournament. Shout out to Heather Jacobs and company on Staten Island. She gets buckets. And by she, I'm talking about Robert Morris center NECWBB. The Garden State product went off in Monday night's title-clinching win, pouring in 30 points, 13 two-point field goals, 4 for 4 from the line. She was the first Robert Morris player to reach the 20-point mark this season. Robert Morris's first 30-point scorer since 2017 when Anna Nikki Stamalamprou accomplished the feat. Azebo, 46 points in 52 minutes last week. She shot 62% from the field. She's the only Colonial averaging in double figures this season. As you probably know, Robert Morris employs a balanced, effective attack on offense, and Azebo is at the center of that. She has scored at least 15 points in 5 straight games. NECWBB, she gets buckets. And it's that part of the show where we take a timeout. Yes, we are taking a breather this week, but we're not looking at the tweet sheet. Instead, I'm throwing it out to Craig D'Amico, the NEC overtime blogger and play-by-play man, has some thoughts as the regular season winds down.
All right, Ralph, thanks so much. Glad to be back with you here on NEC Women's Basketball on the Run. I just got out of the lab going over some of the tiebreaker scenarios. A lot going on in women's basketball with 3 games left to go. Here's a look at some of the things I'm looking at here down the stretch. First, the congratulations to Robert Morris on clinching a share of the regular season title for a 3rd straight year. They've won 14 out of their last 15 conference games. They've been like Ariana Grande, telling their opponents, thank you, next. The Colonials can clinch the number 1 seed for a 4th time with one more win or one more Sacred Heart loss. Now, Robert Morris and Sacred Heart have both clinched first-round home playoff games, but the other 2 quarterfinal hosts are still very much up for grabs. St. Francis is in the driver's seat. They can clinch a home game with a win or a Wagner loss, and the other quarterfinal home game most likely will go to either St. Francis Brooklyn or Wagner, and that'll be a great story either way. The Terriers have never hosted a playoff game at the Pope PE Center, while Wagner last hosted a playoff game back in 2004, but that was when the whole tournament was back at the Spiro Center, so technically they were the quote-unquote road team as the lower seed on their own home floor. Now, how about the bottom of the standings? This is going to be really fun. Remember when you were a kid playing musical chairs and everybody would be circling around and then somebody would do the math and realize, hey, wait a minute, there aren't enough chairs here. Well, that's the exact situation that Central Connecticut State, Fairleigh Dickinson, and LIU Brooklyn find themselves in. 3 teams, 1 spot. Now, what makes this situation ultra unique is the way the schedule just so happened to work out. All 3 of these teams play each other in a true round robin over these next 3 games. Central Connecticut goes to LIU Brooklyn on Saturday, Fairleigh Dickinson plays Central Connecticut on Monday, and then you have LIU and FDU on Thursday. So whoever ends up taking that final spot in the postseason, it's going to get played out on the court, and that should be fun to watch. A reminder, women's basketball fast break column is on the NEC Overtime blog, where we'll break down the playoff picture and go behind the scenes of last week's St. Francis Robert Morris NEC TV game, showing you how one of the bigger broadcasts of the year came together. And next week, it's our regular season finale. It'll be can't miss, tiebreaker mania, brother. All the women's basketball tiebreakers, scenarios, and potential playoff matchups in a handy-dandy color-coded chart. Plus, we'll meet the Merrimack Warriors, NEC women's basketball fans' first look at the NEC's newest team coming in next year. It'll be a part of our column next week in the NEC Overtime blog at NECOvertime.com. That'll just about do it for me. Really excited here as the race to the postseason gets going in NEC women's basketball. Ralph, let's send it back to you.
Thanks, Craig. I'm sure you and I aren't the only ones who are excited about what awaits in the month of March. There will be plenty of moments that make us say, that's amazing. So what was amazing in NEC women's basketball last week? Look no further than the precision passing of St. Francis Brooklyn point guard Amy O'Neal. The Aussie-born floor general leads the conference in assists, more than 8 helpers per game, and that mark ranks 2nd overall amongst NCAA Division I leaders. O'Neal wrote her name into the NEC history book 2 weeks ago when she became only the 6th woman in conference annals to record at least 200 assists in the single season. Last week, she upped her season total to 229, tying the NEC record that was set by Sacred Heart's Erica Norman in 2013, and she did it with 3 regular season games remaining. Now, as you know, the Terriers have clinched a spot in the NEC tournament, so O'Neal will have at least 4 more opportunities to set a new NEC standard. Amy O'Neal has tied the NEC single season record with 3 regular season games to go. She has recorded double-digit assists 8 times this season. Stats amazing. And now, moving on to our game to watch this week. It'll be on NEC Front Row Saturday afternoon. It's Sacred Heart hosting defending champion St. Francis U. The Red Flash currently in 2nd place in the league standings. Sacred Heart 1 game behind in 3rd. And this will be an opportunity for you to watch 2 heavily decorated players in their final year of eligibility. For Sacred Heart, graduate student center Catherine Haynes, 11 double-doubles this year, having herself quite a final go-round. She ranks amongst the top 5 NEC leaders in scoring, rebounding, and field goal percentage. On the other side, St. Francis U senior Jess Kovac, the NEC's all-time leading scorer, approaching 3,000 career points. She has 106 three-pointers already this season. Only 7 times in NEC history has a player hit 100 triples in a single season, and Kovac is responsible for 3 of those 7 seasons. Kovac, Haynes, 2 top teams, plenty of reasons to watch NEC Front Row, Red Flash, Pioneers, Saturday afternoon. So that'll do it for the final episode of the regular season. I'm Ralph Ventre. It's been a pleasure bringing you the Women's Basketball on the Run podcast all season long. I hope to see you again in the playoffs. Enjoy the week in NEC Hoops on NEC Front Row.